Good evening, everybody. I'd like to begin, of course, by thanking Sam for all that he has done to bring us together and lead us through this time of crisis. It is his vision and convictions, together with the wisdom of the board and the committees, such as Gita and Jay and Khani, who have kept us safe and keep us informed. Sam mentioned this has been a interesting beginning as a first year, and I have to say that I could not have asked for a more supportive and reflective and proactive and devoted set of partners. And I thank every single one of them and every single one of you for your patience and your assistance at this time. It is hard to believe, as Sam said, that just over 1 week ago we were all together in Shul for Purim, and just 2 days before that we were gathered at the Shul dinner in celebration of our values and our friendship. And last Thursday, when I first spoke to you through this medium, the news was so fresh and so hard to process and changing so rapidly that we were not in a position to plan or strategize for how to move forward, but just do the right thing and to consider the consequences later. We didn't know whether the building would be closed for a day or 2 days or a week or more. And it has now become clear to all of us that the building will be closed and our daily lives will look different for quite some time. Quite possibly looking at Pesach at home with a closed shul with very, very small sedarim. So now, having made the decisions necessary to save lives and to keep each other safe, it is time for us to strategize and to plan for this contingency, for this moment. And I have to begin by saying that if over the last few days you have felt anxious or nervous or upset or stressed or overwhelmed or spoken to people who feel those things, you are not alone. I have felt all those things. The people I've spoken to have felt all those things. And I imagine almost every single person on the planet has felt them too. And many of us have got the idea that historic events reside in the realm of history, that we mark anniversaries of world-altering events like wars and liberations and miracles, but actually live in an age of relative plateau. We speak of the greatest generation, those who fought and died for the sake of our neighbors, those who fought and died for the sake of their elders, those who fought and died for the sake of their cause. My mother's father fought in France. My father's father fled from Germany. My grandmother's father collected the bodies on the streets after the Germans bombed Liverpool. And while we all have our challenges and our tragedies and our struggles, our lives largely feel normal. But God, in the guise of fate or providence or destiny, has in the space of the last few days made this the time at which we all ascend the stage of history. This is our time to step up and to sacrifice, to do more and realize the power that lies in our hands, to bring comfort to our friends and ourselves, and to leave a model for the future. And as we absorb the full force of the changes that have hit us in so short a span, it is time for us to step up and do what we can for ourselves and each other. And it is in that spirit, as this news gets absorbed but continues to re-hit us, that I turn to you with the YIJE game plan, which I did not stage in advance of taking the post. I will note, before I go into the details of the plan, there has been a move to inundate everyone with virtual content. I'm sure you have been getting emails and WhatsApps and messages and texts, probably not physical mail, but every other sort of medium telling you about programs and shiurim and classes and updates, and it can be overwhelming. And it is an admirable aspiration. It's a worthy goal to fill our days and our nights with Torah. But it strikes me that there is no dearth of online content. There are thousands and thousands of shiurim if people want them. There are books to read online. There is lots of material, and it strikes me that the specific needs of the hour speak to three particular feelings: to isolation, to stress, and to powerlessness. And it is the aim of our game plan not to overwhelm you, not to inundate you, not to guilt you, but to find ways in which to instill you all with feelings of community and continuity and power. That there is something that we can do. And it is 3 areas of our usual activity: tefillah, prayer, Torah, study, and chesed, care. That will all continue, and in this moment of contingency, they will continue in a way that is designed to bring us together and to empower each other. So having said that, I will now share with your screens for those who are online, if this works, the vision. Can anybody see that? Give me a thumbs up. Nobody can see that screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So these are the 3 circles of our aim: to build community and continuity and empowerment. And these are our 3 areas: tefillah, Talmud Torah, and Gemilat Chesed. So firstly, with tefillah. And I should also preface this by saying the majority of what we offer as a shul is on Shabbat. The week is a vibrant time. Our shul is filled with programming, but most of what we do is on Shabbat, and we just simply can't replace that. So we are compensating in small ways that are powerful and not fleeting. So when it comes to tefillah, the first thing we're going to offer is a nightly Mariv. Sunday through Thursday. Again, nobody has to feel that they have to come or they're not good people. This is an opportunity for you all to have a space of reflection and prayer and peace and calm in the middle of a day that, while we are many of us isolated, also overwhelmed with updates and news and technology. And at 9:15 every night, I will come on Zoom and I will lead Mariv, and I'll begin with a short thought. We'll daven, and I will say the pieces one can say without a minyan. We'll conclude with a prayer for those who are sick, and then an Avinu Malkeinu. And you'll be unmuted for that, so we can hear each other's voices. That'll be every night, and we're talking about 15 minutes tops. That is not a long period of time. Number 2, when it comes to tefillah, to prayer, the Friday morning Tehillim group that meets every week will continue to meet virtually and to set out groups. And if you'd like to be part of that, please email me or Linda Bruckner. Number 3, as we had last week, a weekly Havdalah. We will have Havdalah every week. But I think, although I'm sure many of you come to shul just to see my face, I'm sure a number of you come to see other people's faces too. So actually, we want Havdalah to be hosted by you, by different families. So please email me and volunteer to host Havdalah on one of the coming weeks. I will begin as the host of the Zoom call with a small sort, and then I will hand over to the family host, to the household host of that week, because we'd love to see each other in each other's homes and celebrate richly together. That's number 1. Number 2 is Torah. Again, this part can be overwhelming, and it shouldn't be, but it's an opportunity for people who want. We have a weekly schedule, which we will send out over email, so the regular shiurim is still happening. My Parsha Shir tomorrow is not going to happen in the morning, as it usually does at 9:15, but in the evening at 8:30. Other than that, everything else is being maintained, and we do have Rabbi Butler giving a shir, and very, very generously, Rabbi Rebson Hochberger offered to host a weekly discussion on Monday mornings. Again, the details will come out for that, and everyone is invited to join, as we have the Hochbergs, Rabbi Rosenzweig, Michael Appel, Judah Rosenzweig, Rabbi Butler, Yaakov Peretz, a Gabbai of the New Sephardi Minyan, and myself offering shiurim for those who would like. That's number 1. Number 2 in Torah is we are having an SAR, Scholar in Residence, special programming in conjunction with other shuls in the area. This coming Sunday morning will be the first in a series of 3 with Yael Ziegler at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Again, we'll send out the details on that. Number 3, and this is designed specifically to empower you in ways that can feel creative and meaningful when you're not online. And it strikes me as we look forward to Pesach, this is perhaps the most difficult part of what we're facing for a number of you, for people I've spoken to. I was going to have my parents and grandmother and sisters fly out for Pesach, and of course none of that is happening, and I'm sure for many of you, your trips are not happening, and people who are meant to be coming in are not coming in, and even people around the corner may be suggested to have their own Sidarim in their own houses, and it is eminently sad for people, and Chag should be a time of joy. And I'm not going to suggest that this option is going to turn Miyagon L'Simcha from a time of despair into joy, but it should at least try to mitigate and alleviate that by creating in the short space of the next 2.5 weeks a community Haggadah, which does not involve a lot of time, but invites every single person, every single household to submit a poem, a story, a Dvar Torah, a photo, a painting, something that you would like to share about your Jewish life, about reflections on the Haggadah, so that we can send out a PDF, and before the Seder, everybody can print out and look at everybody's thoughts, and at least to some virtual sense, bridge that gap and feel like we're in each other's homes over Pesach and feel a little bit of freedom. That's number 2, Torah. And now we come to care, to chesed. Number 1, many of you have these family albums. At the very back of the family albums, there is a catalog of names and numbers and addresses. And I am encouraging, inviting every single person in the community to once a day call one number from that list in alphabetical order, starting with the name that follows theirs in the album. And that way, every single person in the album gets a call every day. Every single person in the album makes a call every day. And I know this is not something we usually do. And this is part of what it means to step up. This is part of what it means to live at a time that is historic and unprecedented and requires each of us to stand up in our own way and to build connection. And for those who feel intimidated about picking up the phone and making a call, I'll relate very, very quickly. Rabbi Shlomo Riskin writes in the introduction to one of his autobiographies that when he started at Lincoln Square, there was a couple that moved to the community and came to him and said that people aren't being welcoming, people aren't being friendly to them and aren't bringing them in. And while, of course, he said that's terrible and he needs to speak to the community about stepping that up, his advice was, if you want to be made friends, you need to make friends. If you want to have friends in your life, you need to become friends to other people. If you contribute, if you reach out, if you make calls, and the onus shouldn't be on you to do that, but if you do, you will become valuable in people's lives and you will start to feel valuable as well. And if you are intimidated or concerned or anxious about picking up the phone because you feel that you are in no state to support someone else, pick up the phone and make a call, because actually supporting other people supports ourselves too. It will make us feel valuable. It will create bonds that, please God, very soon when we come back to shul, we'll be able to shake hands and see each other as renewed, deepened friends. That's number 1, the friendship chain that I invite everybody to participate in. Again, if you don't feel guilty. This is an opportunity. Number 2, you should just know that there is community care for those who are most exposed to the strains of this situation, the people who are most isolated and alone and may feel at the brunt of the psychological difficulty of this time. In conjunction with Arthur Quint, who I am indebted to for his labors and his work and his efforts, we have made sure that anybody we know of who needs extra support has got it. If you know of someone who needs it and doesn't have it, please email me and we will make sure that they do. Number 3, for those who are staying home in the house, as Gita suggested, there are people who want to stay home. There are people who don't want to go shopping. Don't risk going shopping if you don't have to and you're concerned. We have a number of volunteers. If you send us your shopping list, they will go out and pick up your shopping. Again, email me your shopping list and we will get that sorted. And the final thing is, this is going to be a very stressful time, and it's going to be very stressful financially for a lot of people. For people who are usually stressed financially around Pesach, it's going to be more so, and some who never expected it to be stressful, it's going to be. And if you are in a position where you need help, please reach out to me. If you know of people who are in a position that they need help and they're not reaching out, anonymously reach out to me and I will make sure that they're covered. We have funds in the shul precisely for this purpose, to support people in times of need. We had our appeal 2 weeks ago for the Malchitim. We collected very generously from your donations on that before we had considered the fallout of this. And if you know someone who is in need, or if you are in need, please get in touch. I'm now going to come back. I think you can now see my face again. And I just want to reiterate that that's our plan. And actually, when we assert control and we have a plan and we feel powerful and we feel connected and a sense of continuity that things are carrying on, we can reclaim a sense of calm and purpose and connection. And that is precisely what this is for, to recalibrate and to keep going. And of course, the bottom line is, if you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have somebody you just need to say something, reach out to me. My number is on the calendar. You can email me, rabbilearn@yije.org, and get in touch.